Hi, I'm doing number 6 from Unit S Concept 3, and the problem is sine to the 4th power of x times cosine squared x. First thing I'm going to do is I'm going to separate the sine for x into sine squared x times sine squared x, and then you put in the cosine squared x. I'm going to be solving sine and cosine first, so here's the equation. Now, if you look at your formulas, the power reducing formulas, you'll see that sine and cosine are both equal to something. Instead of using sine and cosine, which is a hassle, you're going to be using these two equations and you're going to replace them with the sine and cosine. So once you plug it in, you're going to get these equations and you're going to FOIL out the numerator and multiply the denominator. So you'll get 1 minus cosine squared 2x over 4. Since this is still not in the first power, you're going to replace 2x with m. So the equation would be cosine squared m. Now, doesn't cosine squared m looks familiar to what we just had done? Why, yes it does. So if you look back at your power reducing formulas, m is basically the same thing as u, but they're just different variables. So you're going to plug this equation back into so you're going to replace that equation with cosine squared m. So you're going to get 1 plus cosine 2m over 2. Now you're going to plug back in 2x into the m. So 2 times 2x is going to be 4x. So the whole equation is 1 plus cosine 4x over 2. Now you know that this whole thing is basically equal to this cosine up here. You're going to plug it back in. If you write it all out, it's going to be 1 minus 1 plus cosine 4x over 2 all over 4. Since these are different denominators, you are going to have to make them the same denominator by changing the 1 and making it equal to 2 over 2, which is basically 1. So since this is 2 over 2, you can now solve the numerators accordingly. Well, first thing you have to do is you're going to distribute this negative into the 1 and the cosine 4x. So if you distribute the negative, this will turn into negative cosine 4x, and this will be negative 1. So if you write it out, the 2 from over here is going to be over here, and you're going to subtract 2 and 1, and you're going to get 1. Then you multiply this denominator by the reciprocal to this, and you're going to get 1 minus cosine 4x over 8. And that's your answer for the sine and the cosine when you multiply them. Now the second step is to incorporate in the sine squared x. So this will be the equation for it, and you multiply it by what you just previously had found. So the numerator, again, you will have to FOIL. So it's going to be this big mess right here. So it's going to be 1 minus cosine 4x minus cosine 2x plus cosine 2x times cosine 4x all over 16 when you multiply the denominators. So the next thing you do is you'll notice that the cosine 2x and the cosine 4x is a product to sum formula. So if you look at this, u is going to be equal to 4x and v is going to be equal to 2x. Now what equation do we know that has cosine times cosine from the product to sum formulas? So if you look at this, you'll see that this equation is what we are looking for. So I wrote out, so I wrote out the equation. If you plug 4x into u and then v into 2x, and you plug all of this in, what you'll get is cosine 2x plus cosine 6x in the brackets. And here's what you'll get if you write down the whole thing all together, and it's all over 16. Next, you'll notice that the 1 over 2 has a denominator of 2, so you have to change this whole part and to make it all have a denominator of 2. So 1 will be 2 over 2, and cosine 4x will be 2 times cosine 4x over 2, and then the same thing with cosine 2x, and this will be kept the same. Then you're going to multiply by the reciprocal of 16, so 1 over 16. So you multiply the whole numerator, and you'll get 2 minus 2 cosine 4x minus 2 cosine 2x plus cosine 2x plus cosine 6x. After that, you see that since some of the cosine have the same terms, you can combine like terms. So negative 2 cosine 2x and cosine 2x can be added, which will leave us with negative cosine 2x, and that's pretty much the only thing you can add. So your answer will be 2 minus 2 cosine 4x minus cosine 2x plus cosine 6x all over 32, because from here you're going to multiply 2 and 16 and you'll get the denominator of 32. And that's your answer. Okay, bye.